In 2000 reach, French yachtsman Olivier de Kersauzon was sailing through the Atlantic Ocean when his boat suddenly stopped, not because of engine failure or mechanical problems, but because something massive had wrapped itself around his vessel, something with glistening skin, arms covered in rotating hooks, and a body nearly 30 feet long. He described it as a living nightmare, like something designed by H.R. Giger himself. Scientists believe it was Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, better known as the Colossal Squid. And for decades, we have been telling you the wrong story about this creature. You are watching Science Revealed, and today we are diving into the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean to reveal the truth about the Colossal Squid, a creature so massive, so terrifying, and so misunderstood that everything you think you know about it is probably wrong. Let me start with something that will surprise you. When most people hear about giant squids in the deep ocean, they think of the legendary kraken. They picture a massive creature with tentacles long enough to wrap around ships and drag them to the bottom of the sea. But here is the truth. The giant squid is not the largest squid in the ocean, not even close. The colossal squid is the true heavyweight champion of the deep sea. While the giant squid can reach lengths of about 45 feet from head to tentacle tip, the colossal squid is built completely differently. It is shorter in total length, but much, much heavier. The largest colossal squid ever found weighed over 1,300 pounds. That makes it by far the heaviest invertebrate on Earth, with zero exceptions. Think about that for a second. 1,300 pounds of muscle, hunting in the pitch-black waters of the Antarctic Ocean at depths where the pressure would crush a human being instantly. This is not a creature from a science fiction movie. This is real, and we are only just beginning to understand how it survives. The reason we have been so wrong about the colossal squid is simple. We have barely studied it. While the giant squid has been photographed alive in its natural habitat and featured in countless documentaries, only a handful of colossal squid specimens have ever been recovered. Most of what we know comes from dead or dying animals that were accidentally caught in fishing nets or washed up on beaches. The first complete adult specimen was not found until 2007. A fishing vessel operating in the Ross Sea near Antarctica hauled up something that shocked the crew. Trapped on their line at a depth of about 6,000 feet was a colossal squid measuring over 33 feet long and weighing nearly 1,000 pounds. The captain of the vessel, John Bennett, later described the moment they realized what they had caught. At first, they thought it was just a large fish that had gotten tangled in their line. But as they hauled it up, they saw the tentacles, then the hooks, then the massive body. The crew had to work for hours to get the specimen on board, and even then, they were not sure what to do with it. The New Zealand government sent a research vessel to collect the specimen, and it was frozen in a massive block of ice to preserve it for study. When the specimen was finally thawed and examined at the Museum of New Zealand Te Papa Tongarewa in Wellington, scientists realized just how little they knew about this creature. The dissection was broadcast live and watched by millions of people around the world. What they found inside was remarkable. The squid's stomach was empty, suggesting it had not eaten recently. Its eyes, when measured, were indeed the largest ever recorded in any animal, and its internal organs showed adaptations for life in extreme cold and pressure that scientists had never seen before. Let me tell you about the anatomy of the colossal squid, because this is where things get truly terrifying. While giant squids are built like torpedoes, long and sleek for speed and pursuit hunting, colossal squids are built like tanks. Their bodies are thick and robust, packed with muscle and fat to survive in the freezing Antarctic waters where temperatures hover just above freezing. But it is their weapons that separate them from every other squid on Earth. Giant squids have suction cups ringed with small teeth designed to grip onto fast-moving prey. Colossal squids, they have something far more terrifying. Rotating hooks, sharp three-pointed hooks that can swivel 360 degrees. designed to dig deep into prey and never let go. These hooks are not just on the tentacles, they are also on the arms. Each arm is lined with rows of these rotating hooks, and when a colossal squid grabs onto something, there is no escape. The hooks rotate inward, burrowing deeper into the flesh with every movement. The more the prey struggles, the deeper the hooks dig. It is a nightmare weapon evolved specifically for the Antarctic deep sea. And at the center of all those arms and tentacles is a beak. Not just any beak, but one made of chitin harder than most metals. This beak is powerful enough to slice through the thick blubber of a sperm whale. The beak measures about 4 inches from tip to base, and the cutting edges are razor sharp. Scientists who have examined colossal squid beaks describe them as being harder than most plastics and comparable to some metals in terms of durability. And yes, that means sperm whales hunt colossal squids. But we will get to that battle in a moment. First, let me tell you about something else that makes the colossal squid unique: its fins. Unlike giant squids, which have relatively small fins used primarily for steering, colossal squids have massive fins that can be almost as wide as their body is long. These fins are not just for steering. They are powerful enough to provide significant thrust, allowing the squid to accelerate quickly despite its enormous size. The fins are also flexible enough to provide precise control during hunting, allowing the squid to adjust its position while keeping the rest of its body motionless. Now let me explain something that scientists got wrong for years. For decades, researchers assumed that the colossal squid was just a larger, heavier version of the giant squid. Same hunting strategy, same behavior, just bigger. But that assumption was completely incorrect. The key to understanding the colossal squid is understanding where it lives and how it evolved. While giant squids live in temperate oceans around the world, colossal squids live exclusively in the deep waters surrounding Antarctica. This is one of the most extreme environments on Earth. The water is so cold that metabolism slows down. Chemical reactions become sluggish. Movement becomes difficult. In this environment, being fast does not matter as much as being powerful. Colossal squids did not evolve to chase down prey like giant squids do. They evolved to be ambush predators. They hang motionless in the water column, waiting for prey to come close. Then, in a sudden burst of power, they strike. Those rotating hooks grab hold, the massive arms pull the prey in, and the beak finishes the job. This is why colossal squids are so much heavier than giant squids. They do not need to be streamlined for speed. They need to be strong enough to overpower large prey in a single attack, and the cold Antarctic waters actually help them. The extreme cold slows down their prey, making ambush hunting much more effective. But there is another factor that made colossal squids evolve to such massive sizes. Something called polar gigantism. This is a phenomenon where animals living in extremely cold water evolved to grow much larger than their relatives in warmer waters. The cold water contains more dissolved oxygen, which allows for larger body sizes. It also slows down metabolism, meaning animals do not need to eat as frequently. Colossal squids got hit with a double dose of gigantism effects. First, they live in the deep ocean where deep sea gigantism makes creatures grow larger. Second, they live in polar waters, where polar gigantism makes them grow even bigger. The result is the largest invertebrate on Earth. Now let me tell you about the eyes of the colossal squid, because this is where evolution created something truly remarkable. Like all deep-sea squids, colossal squids need to detect any available light in the pitch-black abyss. But their eyes are not just large. They are absolutely enormous. A colossal squid's eye can measure up to 11 inches in diameter. That is bigger than a dinner plate, bigger than a basketball. These are the largest eyes in the entire animal kingdom, and they exist for one reason: to detect the bioluminescent trails left by prey and the faint silhouettes of predators against the extremely dim light filtering down from above. But here is something even more interesting. Those massive eyes are not just for seeing prey. They are primarily for detecting predators, specifically one predator, the sperm whale. Sperm whales are the only animals on Earth that regularly hunt and eat colossal squids. These massive whales, which can weigh up to 45 tons, dive to incredible depths to hunt. They can descend over 6,000 feet and hold their breath for up to 90 minutes while searching for squid. And the battles between sperm whales and colossal squids are legendary. Scientists have found sperm whales with circular scars covering their heads and bodies, scars that perfectly match the suction cups and hooks of giant and colossal squids. Some whales have been found with squid beaks lodged in their flesh, evidence of fights that went badly for the whale. In some cases, these beaks were found embedded so deeply that they had caused infections, suggesting the whale survived the initial attack but continued suffering from the wound for weeks or months afterward. One particularly dramatic case involved a sperm whale found off the coast of South Africa with over 100 circular scars on its head and body. Marine biologists who examined the whale estimated that it had survived multiple encounters with large squids, probably both giant squids and colossal squids. The pattern of scars suggested that the whale had been attacked by squids of different sizes, ranging from relatively small specimens to truly massive individuals. There have also been reports from whaling ships in the early 20th century of sperm whales surfacing with fresh squid parts in their mouths. In one famous case from 1933, a whaling crew in the Antarctic killed a sperm whale and found a 40-foot-long squid tentacle still clenched in the whale's jaw. The tentacle was covered in rotating hooks, suggesting it came from a colossal squid. Think about what that means. Sperm whales are among the largest predators on Earth. And yet, colossal squids are capable of fighting back, of leaving permanent scars, of occasionally winning these battles. That tells you everything you need to know about how dangerous these creatures are. But here is where the story gets even more fascinating. Recent research suggests that colossal squids might actually be more common than we thought. Not because there are more of them, but because we have been looking in the wrong places. For years, scientists assumed that colossal squids lived at depths similar to giant squids, somewhere between 3,000 and 6,000 feet. But analysis of where fishing vessels have accidentally caught colossal squids suggests they might actually spend most of their time much deeper. Some specimens have been caught at depths exceeding 10,000 feet, well into the abyssal zone. At those depths, the pressure is crushing, over 3,000 pounds per square inch. The temperature is just above freezing, and there is absolutely no sunlight. This is a world where only the most specialized creatures can survive, and the colossal squid is perfectly adapted to it. But here is something fascinating that scientists only recently discovered. Colossal squids might produce their own light through bioluminescence. While we have not yet confirmed this with live specimens, analysis of their photophores, specialized light-producing organs, suggests they can generate brief flashes of light. This might serve multiple purposes. First, the light could be used to startle or confuse prey in the darkness. A sudden flash of light in an environment where no light should exist would be disorienting to any creature. Second, the bioluminescence might be used for communication between colossal squids, though we have no evidence yet that they are social creatures. Third, it might be used as a counter-illumination technique, making the squid harder to see from below by matching the faint light filtering down from above. Their massive bodies are filled with ammonium chloride, a compound that is lighter than seawater. This gives them neutral buoyancy, meaning they can hover in the water column without expending energy. They do not need to swim constantly like sharks do. They can just hang there, motionless, waiting for prey to come within striking distance. The ammonium chloride also has another benefit. It makes their flesh taste terrible to most predators, providing an additional layer of defense beyond their size and weapons. And when prey does appear, the attack is devastating. Colossal squids can accelerate from a complete standstill to full speed in less than a second using jet propulsion. They suck water into their mantle cavity and then blast it out through a siphon, launching themselves forward with incredible force. Those rotating hooks on their tentacles shoot out, grab the prey, and pull it back toward the waiting beak. The beak itself is a marvel of evolution. It is one of the hardest organic materials known to science, made from proteins and chitin arranged in a structure that is both incredibly strong and surprisingly flexible. The beak can slice through flesh and bone without dulling, and the radula, a tongue covered in tiny teeth, works like a chainsaw to pull chunks of flesh into the squid's mouth. But here is something that most people do not realize about colossal squids. They are not mindless eating machines. They have the largest brain-to-body ratio of any invertebrate. Their nervous system is incredibly sophisticated, with a central brain and large optic lobes for processing visual information. Some researchers believe that colossal squids might actually be quite intelligent, capable of learning and problem-solving. This intelligence might be necessary for survival in the deep Antarctic waters. With prey being relatively scarce at those depths, colossal squids need to be efficient hunters. They cannot afford to waste energy chasing prey that gets away. Their ambush hunting strategy requires patience, timing, and the ability to judge distances accurately in near total darkness. Now let me address one of the biggest myths about the colossal squid. You have probably heard stories about giant squids attacking ships or submarines. Most of those stories are greatly exaggerated or completely fabricated, but there have been documented cases of large squids interacting with human equipment. In 2003, that incident with Olivier de Kersauson's yacht was real. Something did wrap around his boat and hold it in place for several hours. But the squid was not attacking. It was probably just curious or possibly disoriented by the boat's lights. When dawn came, the squid released the boat and disappeared back into the depths. There have also been cases of deep-sea research equipment coming back to the surface covered in sucker marks and hook wounds. In 2007, a submarine filming in Antarctic waters captured footage of what appeared to be a very large squid passing by. The creature was estimated to be at least 25 feet long based on the camera angle, and it had visible hooks on its tentacles. It was most likely a colossal squid. But here is the critical thing to understand. Colossal squids do not hunt near the surface. They do not attack boats. They live in a world so deep and so remote that humans rarely encounter them. The few interactions we have had were accidental, usually involving fishing equipment that happened to be operating at the right depth. So why have we been so wrong about the colossal squid for so long? The answer is simple. Studying deep-sea creatures is incredibly difficult and expensive. The equipment needed to reach depths of 6,000 to 10,000 feet is sophisticated and requires specialized ships. The water pressure at those depths destroys most cameras and sampling equipment. And even when we do successfully reach those depths, the ocean is so vast that finding a specific creature is like searching for a needle in a haystack the size of a continent. Most of what we know about colossal squids comes from specimens that were already dead when we found them. And studying a dead animal can only tell you so much. We cannot observe their behavior, their hunting techniques, or their social interactions, if any exist. We are essentially trying to understand a creature based on finding its corpse, but technology is improving. Deep-sea submersibles are becoming more advanced. Autonomous underwater vehicles can now reach the deepest parts of the ocean and stay there for extended periods. High-definition cameras can function in complete darkness, using infrared or ultraviolet light that does not disturb the animals being filmed. In the coming years, we will likely discover much more about the colossal squid. We might finally capture footage of one hunting in its natural habitat. We might discover that they are more common than we thought, or that they grow even larger than the specimens we have found so far. We might even discover entirely new species of giant deep-sea squids that we did not know existed. The ocean is vast and largely unexplored. Over 80% of the ocean remains unmapped and unstudied. The deep sea, where colossal squids live, is one of the least understood environments on Earth. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the deepest parts of our own ocean. And that is both terrifying and exciting. Terrifying because it means there could be creatures down there that we have never seen. Creatures even larger and stranger than the colossal squid. Exciting because it means there are still genuine mysteries left to solve, frontiers left to explore. So what have we learned about the colossal squid? We learned that it is not just a bigger version of the giant squid. It is a completely different animal with a completely different hunting strategy. We learned that it is the heaviest invertebrate on Earth, perfectly adapted to life in the freezing waters of the Antarctic deep sea. We learned that it has weapons unlike anything else in the ocean, rotating hooks that make escape impossible once it grabs hold. And we learned that we still have so much to discover. Every time we send equipment into the deep ocean, we find something new. Every expedition reveals creatures and behaviors that challenge our understanding of what is possible in the natural world. The colossal squid is a reminder that our planet still holds secrets, that there are still creatures lurking in the depths that we barely understand, and that the ocean, despite covering 70% of our planet's surface, remains one of the last true frontiers. So the next time someone tells you about the giant squid and the legendary kraken, you can correct them. Tell them about the colossal squid, the true monster of the deep. Tell them about a creature with hooks that rotate, eyes bigger than dinner plates, and a beak that can slice through a whale. Tell them about a predator that lives in darkness so complete that most animals cannot survive there, hunting in silence at depths where the pressure would crush a human instantly. What do you think is the most terrifying thing about the colossal squid? Is it those rotating hooks, those massive eyes, or the fact that we have only found a handful of specimens and have no idea how many more are down there? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the deep ocean and the bizarre creatures that live there, check out our video on the Mariana Trench, where we explore the deepest point on Earth and the alien life forms that survive there. You can find the link in the description below or in the card showing on your screen right now. Thanks for watching Science Revealed, and remember, the deeper you look, the stranger it gets.